Srila Prabhupada ki jai, jai, jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So topic which I chose to speak about is beyond my realizations, absolutely beyond my realizations. But I chose it just because I heard it from great Vaishnavas, and I thought that best way to speak anything about is to repeat the words of great devotees. So that is, I took this topic of Raga Nuga Bhakti. Yeah, and Raga Nuga Bhakti, usually we do not talk much about it. Reason being, it's an esoteric aspect of life, our spiritual lives. But still, I'll try to speak something about it, especially the misconceptions which are associated with Raga Nuga Bhakti, is what I'll try to discuss today. Now, firstly, Raga Nuga Bhakti, it's a part of Sadhana Bhakti. So that means there is Sadhana Bhakti, and then there is Bhav Bhakti, and then there is Prem Bhakti. So the part of Sadhana Bhakti are two kinds of Bhakti. One is known as the Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, and there is known as the Raga Nuga Sadhana Bhakti. And as we have also studied in Nectar of Devotion, that Sadhana Bhakti awards two benefits to the sadhaka. One is known as Kleshagni, and another is Shubhada. Right? So Kleshagni and Shubhada, they happen both in Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti as well as Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. But it happens more in Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti because the bhakti has become very spontaneous. Raganuga Bhakti means where the bhakti has become very, very spontaneous. So that means Shubhada and Kleshagni, that means Kleshagni means the distress of the material existence, it gets mitigated. Shubhada means auspicious qualities, they are bestowed upon the practitioner. So that's the result which the sadhaka experiences in his life while doing sadhana bhakti, especially Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. Now, in a beautiful composition by Srila Vishnuacharya Thakur, a great masterpiece which is known as Madhurik Kandambini, there he highlights that Kleshagni and Shubhada, they happen at the level of sadhana, both at Vaidhi sadhana as well as Raganuga sadhana, but they can be compared like two leaves. The side there are two leaves, and we see that the inner part of the leaf is very smooth, and the lower part of the leaf is little rough. So that means that these two leaves, one is Kleshagni and there is Shubhada. Kleshagni and Shubhada. So that means we see that Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, that also awards these two, and Raganuga also these two. But the soft part is Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, and the part which is beneath is little rough, and that is Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So we see that Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti and Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, even though both of them are awarding Kleshagni and Shubhada, but it happens more smoothly and effectively at the level of Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. So what is actually Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti? Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti is following in the footsteps of the Ragatmika devotees. Now, who are these Ragatmika devotees? Ragatmika devotees are defined by Srila Prabhupada in Nectar of Devotion is Rag Atmika, where Rag means a special attachment, is Atmika. It becomes the very essence of their life. Attachment to Krishna is the very essence of their life, and that's why they are known as Ragatmika devotees. Or say, Ragatmika is also meaning that Rag, which means colors or rasa, when the rasa reaches the Atma of the sadhaka, then of the devotee, of a pure devotee, that means the Atma is fully subdued and completely drenched with Rag, color or rasa. That is known as Ragatmika Bhakta, which are eternally liberated souls. They are Ragatmika Bhaktas. So when a sadhaka is taking inspiration from certain devotee in Vrindavan especially, then he is Anuga, or say he becomes a follower of the Rag of that particular devotee in Vrindavan. So that devotee is now known as Rag Anuga devotee or Raga Nuga devotee, like that. So that way, this is the definition of Raganuga. So here a simple translation of the Raganuga devotion service is spontaneous devotion service. Spontaneous. Now what is spontaneous? Spontaneous means it becomes one's second nature to do bhakti. A very simple example to understand Raganuga Bhakti, when one gets up for Mangal Arati, not because I'm to fill in my sadhana chart, not because my spiritual master has told me, not because my mentor will chastise me, not because otherwise I have to write 108 times Hare Krishna Mahamantra and time would get wasted, and then rest of the day I have to drag my Hare Krishna Mahamantra. These are not the reasons to come for Mangalarti. One gets up for Mangalarti just because of the reason one has attraction for Krishna. When then all these reasons are there, my spiritual master told me, scriptures have mentioned so, I'll get the punishment, my sadhana chart should be nice. All these reasons, when they become the impetus to do sadhana, that is known as Vedhi Sadhana Bhakti. But when attraction for Krishna, that becomes the exclusive reason for doing bhakti, then it is known as Raganuga Bhakti, or having spontaneously into devotional service. Spontaneously. He's there actually. So that is known as Raganuga Bhakti. And that phase, it is not that somebody switches from Vedi Sadhana Bhakti to Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti overnight. That yesterday actually I was doing Vedi Sadhana Bhakti, and today morning I shifted myself to Raganuga Sadhana. Just today itself, yeah. So today I'm distributing these sweets. These sweets are for all of you. Please take these sweets. Today I shifted to Raganuga. No, it's not like that. We gradually make a transition from Vedi Sadhana Bhakti to Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, because the spontaneity becomes gradual. It is spontaneous. It is a gradual process, and that way one gradually moves from Vedi Sadhana Bhakti to Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. So it is not an overnight thing. No. And in terms of, if we see the spiritual progress, we start with Shraddha, and then there is Sadhu Sangha, and there is Bhajan Kriya, and then there is Anartha Nivritti, then Nishtha, Ruchi. Nishtha and then Ruchi. That is actually the stage when somebody becomes very spontaneous in one's devotion service, because Ruchi means now anything apart from Krishna does not interest. There is no Ruchi in any other thing but only Krishna. So the sprouting of Raganuga Bhakti, it happens at the stage of Nishtha. Yeah. But actually at the Ruchi, it actually gains momentum. So Ruchi and then Asakti is Ruchi and then Asakti. So in this way we follow Raganuga Bhakti, but it has its sprouting at the stage of Nishtha. And the stage of Nishtha, how to recognize that once somebody has reached Nishtha or not. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he has given his Shiksha Ashtakam. He commented on Shiksha Ashtakam in Bhajan Rahasya. So in Bhajan Rahasya, he says that all the 8 verses of Shiksha Ashtakam, they correspond to the stage in a bhakti. No. So the third stage is a stage of Nishtha. The third shloka describes the stage of Nishtha. The third shloka. And the third shloka, all of us know, is Trinadapi Sunichayana Tarodapi Saishruna Amanina Manidena. That is the stage of Nishtha. Actually, that's why many of us, especially myself, we struggle to be humble, we struggle to be Saishnu, tolerant, amanina, desiring no respect for us and giving respect to everyone. We struggle in that, especially myself. I'm talking about myself. Struggle is there, reason being not on the level of Nishtha. That's why na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim kavitam va jagdish kama. This is the verse for Ruchi actually. Now I have no Ruchi in Dhanam, Janam, Sundarim. Nah. Even Moksha, no Ruchi. So fourth verse is actually the verse of Ruchi. And that's why Sri Radhanath Maharaj used to say that once I heard lecture of Maharaj, and Maharaj said actually the fourth verse should be our North Star. The North Star for a devotee is this: Na Dhanam, Na Janam, Na Sundarim. That's like when somebody walks and one sees that, okay, here is a North Star, the pole star, and we have to walk in that direction. So this person keeps moving without getting deviated, straight. And that phase, na dhanam na janam na sundarim, verse, that's a North Star for the practicing devotees, Sri Radhanath Maharaj said once. So, but that's the stage of Ruchi actually. Somebody reaches the stage of Ruchi, then one starts experiencing and realizing, and one connects naturally to this verse, the fourth verse. So at the stage of Ruchi, one actually starts practicing Raganuga Bhakti. No doubt at the stage of even Anartha Nivritti, some spontaneity in some of the sections are there, but not all. But especially we see that we have ruchi in those devotional service, or say those aspect of devotional service which are as per my psychophysical nature. Then we are spontaneous in that. But that which is not as per my psychophysical nature, we are not so spontaneous in that. Say for example, somebody has been a great reader even before coming to Krishna consciousness. So one is spontaneous in reading in terms of devotional service. But other things which are not beyond, which are beyond my psychophysical nature, then one doesn't show much of interest. Little push is required, some inspiration is required. That's required. So that is when we become spontaneous in any devotional activity, because we see that this is for Krishna. This is for Krishna. Fundraising, yes, I'll go for fundraising. This is for Krishna. Preaching, yeah, this is for Krishna. I'll do it. So one becomes spontaneous that way in all the aspects of devotional service. So when we follow a certain bhakta who is from Vrindavan Dham, so then they are, so that is known as Raganuga Bhakti. Now Srila Prabhupada, he quotes one verse which is Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 7 chapter 1 verse number 31, and it says that there are devotees who remembered Krishna constantly with lot of absorption, but among them who can be counted as a Ragatmika devotee whom one can follow. He takes the example of Kansa, Shishupal, Yadus, Pandavas, Narad Muni and the Gopis. And then Sri Rupa Goswami, he excludes some of them. He says Narad Muni, well, not really, because he is a Vaidhi sadhana bhakta. So that, of course, he became perfect following the path of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. He became perfect. Just by doing Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, one can become perfect. One doesn't have to follow the footsteps of any Vrindavan devotee. So that is, one can become perfect. But that leads to Narayan Loka, Vishnu Dham. But for Vrindavan Dham, one has to do Raganuga Bhakti. So Narad Muni is Vaidhi sadhana bhakta, perfect devotee, but he followed the path of Vaidhi sadhana. After receiving mercy of the four great Bhakti Vedantas, many say that they were Chatush Kumaras. Pandavas, well, it is mix of Aishwarya and intimacy. Sometimes they get overwhelmed by greatness of God. So that way, sweetness is overwhelmed by grandeur. So that way, well, they cannot be called as Ragatmika devotees. Shishupal, because he was remembering Krishna spontaneously but out of enviousness. Kansa, out of fear. So they can also not be counted as the Ragatmika devotees. Yadus and the Gopis, they are included. And among the both of them, Gopis are the epitome of Ragatmika devotional service. So that way, Gopis have such intense, immense desire to please Krishna. Just like somebody becomes mad to satisfy one's own senses, Gopis are mad to satisfy Krishna's senses. And then Sri Rupa Goswami, he says that why the Gopis, their love is most untainted, is why is that so pure, and why is it called, it falls in the category of love. He says that there are three symptoms of true love, and in which the Gopis, they score 100% marks. First one is that there is no vested interest in love. In love, there should not be any vested interest. Second thing is that there is no event can stop that love. Even death cannot stop it. That's second symptom. And third one is there is ever increasing bliss in love. Now we see in this world, whatever people say, I love you 2, I love you 3, I love you 4. But actually people, this love which people have, it fails in all the three. There is no vested interest. In the love of this world, there is always a vested interest. Whether I will enjoy or not. Ultimately, it is I should enjoy. There is vested interest. Every kind of love. Whatever. Even mother's love has got some vested interest. Even though in the world that is considered to be the number one. But that also has some vested interest. Second one, no event can stop it. Not even death. And we all know that all love stories ultimately come to an end in the moment of death. It stops. Laila and Majnu, they were together. Laila was very pious, Majnu was Tapori. So Majnu goes to hell, Laila went to heaven. They found their own Laila Majnus in hell and heaven. Move on. So that means death brings to an end to such love. Third is that there is ever increasing bliss. In this world, there is no ever increasing bliss. After having some physical intimacy, then love goes down. All shero shairis and everything, it goes down. after some physical exchange. That's it. It goes down. So there is no ever increasing bliss. No, it's not like that. When somebody asks Srila Prabhupada, what is love? We see that love is there also there in this material world. Srila Prabhupada ne kaha, well, there is love, but there is difference between the love which is there in the spiritual world and there is love in the material world. In spiritual world, in love, two become one. In their heart, of course, the two become one in love. In the material world, two become three when they are in love. So that ways we see that that's the difference. Of course, Srila Prabhupada said in a very sarcastic way, but he actually bang on that's the difference between the divine love and the love of this world. So gopis, they are the epitome, the topmost example. So yadus, they are also counted, but yes, the love of the gopis is unmatched, actually unmatched. So that way the gopis, the Brajavasis, they have such spontaneous love for Krishna. Just like when Mother Yashoda was shown the grandness inside the Krishna's opulence inside his mouth, still her bhakti was not her bhakti. The sweetness in her bhakti was so vast that the opulence of the Lord could not cover it. But when Lord Krishna showed his universal form to Arjuna, he said, "Oh Yadava, oh Keshava, please forgive me for my offenses. I treated you like a friend. Please forgive me." So his bhakti could be penetrated by Krishna's opulence. But Mother Yashoda's bhakti could not be penetrated by the opulence of Krishna. So we see that their love is so condensed. And once I was hearing Srila Radhanath Maharaj said, the love of the Brajavasis is greater than the love of the devotees in Vaikuntha Dham. Why? Because devotees who are in Vaikuntha Dham, they are selfless in their service. And those who are in Braja, in Vrindavan, they are selfless as well as self-forgetful. Those who are Vaikuntha-vasis, they are not self-forgetful. But the Brajavasis, they are self-forgetful. And that is the exalted position of the Brajavasis. They are self-forgetful. They are so much lost in Krishna. Like that. So in which yugas Raganuga Bhakti becomes possible? Actually, Raganuga Bhakti, it becomes possible only when Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes. Why so? Why is that it is only possible when Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes? Because then we have the Brajavasis, so that we can emulate them, we can follow in their footsteps. Then it becomes possible. So in Vraja Bhakti also, in Vraja Bhakti, of course there are Nimbarkis also, and they can enter Golok Vrindavan, because there are devotees who are in Nimbark Sampradaya. But anybody, whether he is a Nimbarki or somebody is a Gaudiya Vaishnava, one has to follow the Raganuga Bhakti. That's important. Now in Raganuga Bhakti, one hears and reads the sections of Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. That's the thing. But he focuses on them, but it does not mean that he does not read other sections of the Shastra. This is one misconception which people have. Like in USA, they formed one GBC, Gopi Bhav Club. But they would not read Srimad Bhagavatam, they would not read Bhagavad Gita, they would only read Ras Panchadhyay. And they would have only discussions on Ras Panchadhyay, which is in the 10th canto, 29th, 30th, 31st, 32nd, 33rd. Only these chapters, that says Ras Panchadhyay. So Srila Prabhupada said, we have only one GBC, we will not have second GBC, Gopi Bhav Club. No, completely admonish it. So Srila Prabhupada discouraged that. So so the one who is following the path of Raganuga Bhakti also speaks about, also discusses and preaches the other Leelas of the Lord. But yes, one has more attraction for the Vrindavan pastimes of Krishna. Another misconception related to Raganuga Bhakti is that one has to think about a particular Brajavasi and follow them. And that way we see there are Sahajiyas, they wear Ghagra, Choli, and then they try to emulate or imitate the gopis. But actually, they are not supposed to live like the Brajavasis, but they are to behave like the Sadhak Roop of the Brajavasi. For example, somebody is inspired by Sri Rupa Goswami. Rupa Manjari. So one should live one's life as per the life of Shri Rupa Manjari. Shri Rupa Goswami. Shri Rupa Goswami is the sadhak roop of Shri Rupa Manjari. Like that. So one has to follow the lifestyle of the Vaishnavas sadhak rupa. And that way, when somebody asks Srila Prabhupada, in Raganuga Bhakti, we have to follow some Brajavasi. So whom should we follow? Srila Prabhupada said, you follow me. I am from Braja. I am from Vrindavan. You follow me. Because Srila Prabhupada, he is having his spiritual form in the spiritual world. But here he is having this sadhaka form, where he is chanting Hare Krishna. He took initiation. Now he is also giving initiation. And he is preaching Krishna consciousness. He is following vratas. That's a sadhaka rupa. Of course, he's a siddha, but he's this sadhana rupa. So we are to follow that actually. So the very first misconception about, which is very important misconception, which people have about Raganuga Bhakti, is that one has to follow the lifestyle of some Brajavasi in Braja. No, it's not like that. We follow the sadhaka rupa. That's very important. Another misconception is that once somebody reaches spontaneous devotional service, then one doesn't have to follow any rules and regulations. बस अब तो हम रागानुगा भक्ति पे आ गए, अब तो हमें किसी प्रकार के रूल्स रेगुलेशंस को फॉलो करने की आवश्यकता नहीं है. That's also another misconception. No, it is not like that. One still has to follow the rules and regulations. Our Raganuga Bhakta also chants Hare Krishna. Our Raganuga Bhakta also sits in Bhagavatam class, makes notes without judging the speaker, listens in the class, and then he would wash the utensils of the Lord, and whatever activities a Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakta does, same activity is being done by Raganuga Sadhana Bhakta. But yes, there is more love, but there is more intimacy, and there is more joy, there is more enthusiasm, so in whatever he does. So that means a Bhakta who has reached Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti also does fasting, also does morning program. Everything remains like a very sadhana bhakta, but same activity is enthused with natural attraction for Krishna. It's like that. Not that now he doesn't have to follow. No. It's a misconception about Raganuga Bhakti that I don't have to follow. No. Now rules and regulations are not the driving force to do bhakti. Attraction for Krishna is the driving force to do bhakti. So all the devotional activities, they remain same. So that's also a misconception about Raganuga Bhakti. There is also one more misconception about Raganuga Bhakti some people have, is that those who are having this male form, they get male form in the spiritual world. So that means those who are having this male form, they'll become Sakha of Krishna. And those who are having these female forms in this world, they can become gopis of Krishna. Wow. Shri Rupa Goswami says, no, it is not like that. Even somebody is having this biological form, which is we get as per our karma, can be having a form which is female-like. For example, of a gopi. Actually, there is no male-female in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, there is enjoyer and enjoyed. Whether Nanda Maharaj, whether Yashoda Maiya, Radharani, Sakhas, they all are in the category of enjoyed. As per the rasa, they have certain form, but there is no as such biological male form and biological female form. In the spiritual world, there is enjoyer and enjoyed. ये स्त्री पुरुष का पागलपन जो है सिर्फ जगत के अंदर ही है. This madness only prevails in the material world, and that's it. In the spiritual world, there is enjoyer and enjoyed. So there is no he and she. Krishna is not he, and Srimati Radharani is not she. But since we are to describe, so we use Krishna. Oh, he was so powerful. Oh, she was so beautiful. Oh, she is so merciful. But actually, they are beyond he and she of this world. He and she, as per the physical biology of a person. So that way, there is another misconception about Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, that male become males and female becomes female. So यहाँ female है वहाँ गोपी बन जाएंगे. No, it's not like that. One Swarupa and this biological covering, they are two different topics. So they are absolute two different phenomena. So that way, one should not conclude that males will get the male forms and like that. No. Another misconception about Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti is that when somebody reaches Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, then Smaran becomes the more prominent feature and Shravan Kirtan becomes a secondary feature. When somebody is Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, Shravan Kirtan is main and then Smaran is secondary. But somebody reaches Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, then Smaran becomes prominent, and then Shravan Kirtan becomes secondary. No, it is not like that. In fact, there was one devotee, his name was Roop Kaviraj. He started professing this philosophy that when we become advanced, then Smaran is more prominent feature of our sadhana than Shravan and Kirtan. And at that time, there was one great Vaishnavi, Hemlata Thakurani. She said, well, that's absolutely nonsense, and she proved from Shastra that in all the stages of life, Shravan Kirtan remains a prominent feature of one's devotional service. Even Smaran is actually based on the intensity of Shravan and Kirtan. There is more intense Shravan Kirtan, and that leads to even more intense Smaran. But Smaran becomes independent of Shravan Kirtan. No, this does not happen. So in Vrindavan, there are some cults, some Sahajiyas, some Upper Sampradaya people. They follow the path of Smaran. That Smaran is the more prominent feature, but it's not like that. Smaran always has its foundation on Shravan and Kirtan. It has to be there, and that's why Lord Chaitanya, he has given us the path of Shravan and Kirtan. So that should be done with all enthusiasm. That should be there. Of course, this Smaran has got various levels. Like there is Smaran, there is Dharan, there is Dhyan, there is Dhruv Anusmriti, and then there is Samadhi. So in Smaran is done which is on the platform of Vaidhi Bhakti. Smaran. Remembrance is there, but there is a deliberate, conscious effort for this Smaran to happen. So that is Smaran, which is on the Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. And next one is Dharan. That means now efforts, they become easy in terms of doing Smaran. They also become easy. So that means in Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, one is doing Dharan. Dharan means now I am able to have the spiritual absorption and spiritual remembrance, and that is natural, not spontaneous, but yes, it becomes more effortless. That's on the stage of, that is still on the stage of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Dhyan is another stage. Now, at the stage of Dhyan, one makes a shift from Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti to Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, and here we see that one is able to conceive the Naam, Roop, Gun, Leela of the Lord very easily. At the stage of Dharan, there is sometimes obstruction, but at the stage of Dhyan, there is no obstruction. One is able to think of Naam, Roop, Gun, Leela of Krishna easily, spontaneously. That's it. So that's the stage of Raganuga Sadhana. That's the beginning, that's the transition at the stage of Dhyan. And then Dhruv Anusmriti. Dhruv Anusmriti is also at the stage of Raganuga Bhakti, where now Naam, Roop, Gun, Leela, it is spontaneously almost throughout the day one is able to remain in this stage. So that way this is very seamless, unbroken stream of Naam, Roop, Gun, Leela. Okay. And then last one is Samadhi. Samadhi is a stage of Bhav Bhakti. Okay. So Raganuga Bhakti is still Dhruv Anusmriti. So these are 5 stages of Smaran rooted in Shravan and Kirtan. If there is no Shravan Kirtan, nothing will happen. Nothing. No Smaran, no Dharan, no Dhyan, no Dhruv Anusmriti, no Samadhi. Nothing will happen if there is no Shravan Kirtan. So that means Shravan Kirtan becomes very condensed, very solid, nectarian. So that kind of Smaran is there at the stage of a Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. But yes, Shravan Kirtan has to be always there, making that Dhyan to happen. These 5 stages of Dhyan, the 5 stages of Smaran, they happen because of that. So one more thing is there which is quite rampant in Radhakund area, is of receiving Swarupa. So there is Ekadash Bhav being given at the stage of sadhana. When somebody is receiving, somebody is doing Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. So 11 things they are given by the Guru to the disciple, and कि भाई तुम्हारा स्वरूप क्या है? What is your स्वरूप? So in that the name is told कि आपका लीला के अंदर आपका नाम क्या है, your रूप, your आयु, your age, your vesh, what do you wear, what's the color of your clothes, your outfit, your relationships in terms of who is going to be your husband, your husband's name, your father's name, your mother's name in the spiritual world, and youth, that means you belong to which group of devotees you belong to, Agya, which is going to be your order from your Guru Manjari in the spiritual world. Seva, what is going to be your service? What is going to be your highest aspiration, mood or bhav, and residence. So these are the 11 aspects of one's Swarupa which is being given by one's Guru to the disciple. And then the disciple has to do intense sadhana and meditating on this form of one's Swarupa along with Krishna's service. One does that, and that's the way one pursues, one takes care of the Raga. Now, whether this is bona fide or not, well, the answer is that it is a bona fide thing. Now, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave two ways of execution of Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. One he gave to Srila Vakreshwar Pandit, another he gave to Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. To Srila Vakreshwar Pandit he gave this Ekadash Bhav, this Ekadash, these 11 characteristics of one Swarupa and doing Bhakti. But the prerequisite of this kind of Raganuga Bhakti was that one should have immense Vairagya, unshakable Vairagya. Then one can receive this kind of Swarupa, and then one can start meditating in this way and then realize one's spiritual form, one's spiritual body. Now, what was the standard at the time of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada? If somebody is to receive this in this line, Vakreshwar Pandit line of receiving one Swarupa, it used to be if the person can chant 192 rounds every day for at least 1 year, then this was being given. Prior to that, it was even more. So if somebody has been chanting for more than 3 years, 192 rounds every day, and there is no compromise in terms of the 4 regulative principles, unshakable sadhana. When somebody has reached this stage, 192 rounds every day, then one would receive these Ekadasha Bhavas. But this became so much degraded actually that this got lost. Now, another spontaneous devotional service was being given to Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Now, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, he received this process where there is Shraddha, and then in this way we keep progressing and finally we reach Prema, Krishna Prema. So, this path would be propagated in the world was being predicted by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in a very, very famous verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Satam prasangan mama veer samvido. And the last line, it mentions Shraddha ratir bhakti anukramashyati. That Shraddha, which is actually the beginning of, which is sadhana bhakti, ratir, which is bhava bhakti, and then prema. So this anukramashyati, in this sequence which we progress, which is given to Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, would actually become the process of the whole world. The entire world would follow this particular process to become perfect. So how does Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti fit into ISKCON? Yeah. So how do we follow? So in ISKCON, when somebody is following the footsteps of one spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, they are liberated souls. And at the same time, he carries out the process of devotional service. And in the devotional service, because of natural attraction for Krishna, one keeps doing devotional service again and again. This manifests Swarupa by the will of the holy name and by Gurudev's mercy. One receives perfection. And the example is that of Sripad Aindra Prabhu. Aindra Prabhu used to say, Srila Prabhupada has given everything in ISKCON. Have faith in Srila Prabhupada. He has given everything. There were 2 or 3 of his students, they went to Radhakund to receive Swarup. And the thing is that one should not reveal one Swarup to others. Ki na mere ko to ye Swarup mila hai. But since they were friends, so they were very curious ki aapas mein kya ka Swarup mila hai. So the 3 of them, they discovered that the 3 of them, they received same Swarupa. The 3 of them were Kusum Manjari, Kusum Manjari, Kusum Manjari. And then, acha, we 3 are Kusum Manjari. Identity crisis. So when they came back, so then Aindra Prabhu really chastised them at that time. That I told you not to go anywhere else. Srila Prabhupada has given everything in ISKCON. In ISKCON, you will get perfection. I am telling you, I got it, you will also get it. You will also get it. So that way, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also confirms this, that this path of devotional service, which was given to Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, would actually be followed by this world. So that phase, one has to have, one should know one Swarupa. That's not really required. This is known as Siddha Pranali actually. Siddha Pranali. And Srila Prabhupada criticized it because of the name of Siddha Pranali is so so much of nonsense was happening. Entire section of the Sahajiyas was driven by this Siddha Pranali thing. When somebody asked Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, so do you believe in Siddha Pranali? He said, yes, of course. So what is the Siddha Pranali? He said, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. By meditating on the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we become Siddha. And this is the real Siddha Pranali actually. So Hare Krishna Mahamantra is Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. This would reveal everything. Otherwise, you get certain kind of Swarupa in the spiritual world. So there, it's an act of self-deception. I know some of my friends as well, because during 2006, there was a wave in Delhi in which we lost so many devotees to this Radha Kund confusion. So during those days were the discourses which I heard from His Grace Mohan Rupa Prabhuji about Raganuga Bhakti. And since I was serving as a personal secretary to Prabhuji, so that's why I was making PowerPoint slides for him, making these notes and all. And that's why today I thought that I should share some of those notes about Raganuga Bhakti, because Prabhuji removed so many misconceptions about Raganuga Bhakti. And that's why I thought in today's class, because it's going to be all initiated devotees and all of you devotees from Radha Gopinath Temple, very advanced devotees, I can discuss these topics, even though personally speaking I am not qualified, but I thought I'll just share these words which I heard from Mohan Rupa Prabhuji, who is very advanced devotee, ISKCON Delhi, East of Kailash Temple President. So I heard from him, learned from him, and that's why I thought that I should share with all of you. So that means having received the process of devotional service, this in itself is so very potent that one makes a gradual shift towards Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. But yes, one more thing which is also connected to Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti is that one should stay in Vrindavan. And the misconception is that one has to stay in Vrindavan. No, that's also not the thing. More important than physical residence is mental residence, because Vrindavan is consciousness. It's less of a place, it's more of consciousness. So somebody even staying in Mumbai, Delhi, New York, but one's heart always stays in Vrindavan, that is more important for Raganuga Bhakti. And that way we see that those devotees who meditate on the pastimes of Krishna, and that way the residence places of the holy dham like the Navadvip or Vrindavan, they develop attraction for certain places in Vrindavan. So even though they may not be staying there physically, mental residence is more important actually. That's also regarding Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. So Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti is there in ISKCON. It is just that those who are actually Raganuga Bhaktas, they don't reveal it to the world. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur used to say, just like any chaste woman does not reveal one's private parts in public, she always hides herself properly, because covers oneself properly, because she is a chaste woman. On the other hand, a prostitute reveals one's private parts publicly because she is a prostitute. Similarly, a bona fide devotee who is actually doing Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti would not reveal one's personal connection with one's personal attachments to Krishna in public. He would always cover them, hide them. But those who are debauchees, who are cheaters, who are hoax, and who are trying to cheat public on and try to get some cheap adoration, they publicly display such symptoms that we have reached the stage of Raganuga Bhakti, we are shedding tears and all that, and we are only reading the sections of Rasa Leela. Well, all the Leelas of Krishna are transcendental, but yes, Vraj Leela, Vrindavan Leelas, they have more attraction. But one should hide one's personal emotions and attraction. One may reveal to one's Shiksha Guru or Diksha Guru, some very elevated devotee who is also mature enough to appreciate such advancement in the devotee. So these were few words which I shared about Raganuga Bhakti. Of course, there are other things as well, that how Ragatmika Bhakti is Kamatmika and Sambandhatmika. I did not get to those hierarchy of Ragatmika devotees and Raganuga devotees. But yes, Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti is being followed by many devotees. Even they do not know that, because more we become advanced in Bhakti, more we feel that I am so fallen. So even they do not know. Raganuga Bhakta also doesn't know that he's actually has become a Raganuga Bhakta, but he's spontaneously there on the path of devotional service. Alright, I'll stop here now. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. वैष्णव भक्तवृंद की जय, श्री राधा गोपीनाथ जी की जय, गोपाल जी की जय, श्री गौनिताय की जय, वैष्णव भक्तवृंद की जय। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय।
RG Media YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe.